fine. It's okay. Okay, so are we good?
I'm recording to my system. I don't know if that
Okay.
works.
Yes, that works. So after recording, you can then upload it on your YouTube channel, right?
Yes, I can send it to them.
Okay, all right. That would be great. That would be great. So let me share my screen. Just a second. Okay, please, can you see my screen?
Positive.
Okay, great. Okay, guys, it's a pleasure to be here. And it was a pleasure. Hi, Kola, it was a pleasure listening to you. That was a fantastic presentation. I think I was quite keen and was following every bit of your slide, right? Which was quite insightful. I don't know about the others, but I've actually learned a lot from what you presented. Right. So I'm just going to go straight away to what I have for you guys. It's just going to be something similar to what Paula has presented. So today we're looking at how revolutionizing cloud and DevOps engineering, how it has impacted or how the impact of AI, can influence or affect automation and efficiency in our DevOps and cloud, daily responsibilities. Right. So my name is Eric Newitzer. Caller, the name is Newitzer. So I hope you got it now. So I'm a cloud DevOps engineer with over 5 years of experience, and I currently work with SolarWinds Technologies Institute as a trainer. So SolarWinds Technologies Institute is a training institute. We train on cloud, data science, machine learning, and AI. So it's a pleasure for me to be here. And I'll be looking at this topic also from another perspective or a similar perspective as Kola has presented, right? I'm just going to go straight away. For those who are new on the platform, I might be a bit straightforward, right? But don't worry, you can ask your questions after the session, right? You can ask your questions after the session. So when we look at the DevOps or cloud engineering role, right? And how, if you're on that role, you need to be, executing your daily tasks, maybe configuration management, running deployments, infrastructure or whatever that you have to do, right? But before all this AI came into the space, how has things been going? How are things usually being done without AI, without artificial intelligence, right? And we see that one of the areas where AI has impacted or is going to impact DevOps and cloud engineering is going to be in the intelligent and observability and incident management aspect, right? Yes, for those on the call who understand better, when you are doing your deployment, you need to configure your monitoring tools, your observability tools. And the commonest of them, you have Prometheus, Grafana, that have to monitor your system health, right? Maybe your CPU utilization, your instances, and everything. And after monitoring, right, these tools, they generate a lot of vast amount of logs and alert. Now you as a DevOps engineer, when this data is generated, when these logs are generated, what do you have to do? When you come in, you go to these tools and you have to now manually, analyze some of these logs, some of these metrics, and some of these telemetrics and everything. This, you have to do it manually, right? And it's going to take you a lot of time. It's going to take you a lot of effort. It's going to take you a lot of resources. So now, even though DevOps is all about automation, making things a bit faster, and increasing the speed, like Kola said, AI comes in to make things a bit more faster again than we can imagine. In the incident observability or in the intelligent observability and incident management aspect. So which are those tools that we have in the field now that are actually doing that role, of, enhancing our observability and incident management services? We have Datadog. Datadog is one of them. Commonest AI-powered tools now, right? Probably you must have read about it. Yes, but know that Datadog is an AI-powered tool that you can use, to enhance your observability. You also have Dynatrace. Paula mentioned it. You also have New Relic, right? So what happens is that these tools, they have AI models that have been, built in them. So these AI models are able to learn from past incidents, right? Maybe in the past you ran maybe a pipeline and it failed, right? And you had this AI model built in your pipeline. So the AI tool is going to learn from those incidents from the past, and now when subsequent failures occur or incident occur, it's going to learn from those past incidents and be able to say, hey, it was on this line, at a particular line that this particular failure occurred. And when it occurred, these are the logs that were generated. And when it learns from that, the next time it's able to predict and tell you, that, hey, based on your system, right, it's able to detect any unusual patterns in your application logs because it is able to learn. So AI models are all about learning from the past and being able to predict what is going to happen next, so that you rather have a proactive measure instead of being a curative. Kola talked about this. You have to be proactive here instead of being curative, right? And then another area where AI is going to impact DevOps and cloud engineering is when it comes to automated root cause analysis, RCA, right? When you're running a pipeline and it fails, sometimes you have to take yourself back. You take yourself back, maybe 2 steps back, and you start, go back to the drawing board and you say, hey, based on the logs that have been generated, based on the errors that have been generated, you have to do a root cause analysis of what must have gone wrong, right? And when you are doing all of this, you have a lot of data to analyze. You have a lot of logs to analyze. And this is going to increase what we call the mean time to resolution, the MTTR, right? And if your application is down, that MTTR is going to increase. That means your application won't be running. You're going to lose customers, and you may collapse or you may go out of business, depending on the application you're running, right? So what does AI come to do in this scenario? You have tools, that are able to scan some of these logs, and compare it again with historical data and identify exactly where the issues are, right? Splunk AI is one of them. Splunk AI, you can check about it and read more about it. Splunk AI. So what happens is that Splunk AI can be able to scan some of these logs and suggest, the root causes without you necessarily going line by line, maybe within your code, in order to analyze the cause, which is going to take you time, right? So that's the beauty of AI. Another aspect where AI is going to impact or is impacting, you know, cloud engineering, cloud and DevOps engineering is the aspect of security, right? The aspect of security. Again, security remains a top priority in the cloud. In whichever environment you find yourself, you know, whether you're building a pipeline, whether you want to deploy an infrastructure, don't underestimate security. Security should be your priority, right? Nowadays, we have a lot of hackings that are going on because engineers ignore the security aspects, best practices, right? But again, notwithstanding, which are those traditional security challenges that we face nowadays, you know, as DevOps engineers, you know, as cloud engineers, right? You realize that when you have to do some security vulnerabilities, some of these vulnerabilities are detected, you know, sometimes in the late stage of your security assessment. Or maybe you have to assess, you know, your environment when there's already a failure in your pipeline, right? And sometimes even the code that you have, you need to analyze it. You have some of these tools that you have to manually analyze the code, which takes a lot of time. So you need to analyze your code for bugs and all of that. All of this require a lot of time, right? And sometimes when you have to do that analysis to filter, you know, the code, you have a lot of data to handle. Now, what does AI come in play to do? With AI-driven tools, you can be able to detect some of these vulnerabilities in real time, right? And what happens is that those AI tools, they filter your logs or they filter the vulnerabilities based on how critical the errors are or how critical the logs are, so that you don't waste so much time analyzing unnecessary vulnerabilities, right? It's not every vulnerability that's a problem. So with AI tools in place, you can be able to, you know, prioritize your vulnerability and say, hey, this is a critical vulnerability. Yes, let's focus on it, right? AI-powered sync and less work. You can check up on them. There are some of the tools that are coming up powerfully in the AI space, you know, that can help you, help you to, you know, to speed up your infrastructure deployment and also increase and improve your security, right? You can be able to scan even the code for vulnerabilities before you deploy. You don't have to deploy, and then when there's a security breach, before you come in with your security tools and then you start, you know, doing your checks, right? You can scan your code before you deploy it. So you can take advantage of this sync and less work, you know, to be able to leverage on the AI power tools. Now, there's another aspect, there's another powerful tool which is in the system now, Kubernetes, right? If you're on the job market, you realize that Kubernetes is a hotcake. Kubernetes is a hotcake tool now. A lot of companies, a lot of applications now run on Kubernetes. But you ask yourself, why Kubernetes, right? The story of Kubernetes is a long story. It's going to be a long story if I start Kubernetes here. So what do we see in the system? When it comes to, you know, maybe deploying, maybe let's say you have a lot of Kubernetes cluster that you need to deploy, right? DevOps manually, they will have to set up their CPU and memory limits, you know, and they have to do this manually. This is always done manually, right? And when you're doing this manually, it's going to take you time, it's going to take a lot of effort, and you can sometimes have performance issues and all of that. In recent times, AI has come out with what we call Kubernetes event-driven autoscaling, right? We call it KEDA. Yes, so what KEDA does is that instead of you having to, you know, manually go through your infrastructure and scan for how much resources you need, KEDA is able to scale down or scale up your resources depending on the specific application demands that are in place, right? You don't have to manually think that, okay, I need this number of resources, I need this amount of CPU, right? I need this amount of memory. No, KEDA is able to, you know, tell you based on your infrastructure, based on the application demands, this is the amount of CPU you need, right? And even after you do the deployment, KEDA is able to scale up or down based on the workload of your application, right? Which is a powerful thing. It's actually transforming, you know, the cloud and DevOps engineering rules nowadays. So based on that, all of these guys, in the call, I saw that I was also supposed to talk about the roadmap, because someone was asking now, if I want to become or integrate AI into my cloud DevOps engineering role, how do I do? Or if I want to skill up in terms of IOPS, right? AI ops, you can call it AI ops. What do I need to do? Do I need to go start, learning about AI and machine learning? Do I need to go learn how to build AI models? Right? You might be asking yourself these questions. Maybe you are still a newbie. You don't yet know about DevOps. Should you go now start learning about AI and machine learning instead of trying to learn about DevOps? No. If you are new into DevOps space or in the cloud space, right? Don't think of going to learn about AI models or how to build AI models. Focus on the fundamentals. The first thing should be to focus on the fundamentals. Learn about the fundamentals of cloud, right? AWS, Azure, GCP, learn any of them. Have a solid foundation in any of these. Now, when you have a solid foundation in any of these, now learn about DevOps, how to automate pipelines, how to automate deployments and all of that, right? How to do this manually with Grafana, Prometheus, and all the tools that you have in place, right? Learn about these tools. And then when you have an understanding of how these tools work, also focus on monitoring and observability tools, right? There's a huge opportunity if you want to get into the AI space with your DevOps and cloud skills. There's a huge opportunity around monitoring and observability. So you can learn about it. And then when you have a solid foundation of the cloud, DevOps tools and all the other things, now you can then learn how to integrate the AI platforms, the Dynatrace, the Datadog, the Splunk AI. You can now learn how to integrate now within your space or within your cloud role, right? And then after that, you also need to understand infrastructure code. Infrastructure as code, you need to learn it, IAC, which is very, very important, right? So guys, due to the limited time that we have, I can't go deep into all of these, right? I can't go deep into all of these. Earlier on, I talked about SolarVis, and one of the things we also do SolarVis, we train, right? We don't only train, but we bring you in a community where you feel you belong, right? We offer training on cloud, DevOps engine or DevOps, and data science and machine learning, cybersecurity. So there's an entire roadmap maybe for someone who want to follow that path, right? Or if Beamcom is also offering some of these, you can also leverage and take advantage of it, because now the future is here and the future is AI, right? I want to thank you so much for your time, and I hope you learn one or two things. And I'm also ready to learn from all of us, from any one of us who is here on the call. Thank you so much for your attention, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you so
I'm handing over to you, our host, our main host, income host. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Kolawole, and thank you very much to Mr. Eric for that wonderful presentation. That was so insightful. Thank you very much for that. So, like I said I'll be giving us more information concerning the services we run at Pinkop Dev Center. So, give me a few minutes. Let me share my screen. So, confirm if you can see my screen, please.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. So like I said, Bincom Dev Center is a multi-location technology talent development and solution platform. And we have our location at different areas at Yaba, Lagos, Ibadan, Oyo State, Kano State, Kaduna State, Ijebu-Igbo, Ogun State, Warri Delta State, United Kingdom. And also we are planning on expanding in more locations. So like I said our key pillars, we focus on three key pillars, which is building tech talent, enhancing tech talent, and building startups. So under these three key pillars, we have different services on it. So I'll be talking about the services. Yeah, so one of the service is Become Academy. What is Become Academy all about? So Become Academy is the Montessori approach and training participants in basic skills needed for the modern technology ecosystem. Then we have our Become Tech internship, which is designed to enable people at the intermediate skill level gain mastery and expertise over a period of time. Then we have our Become Tech apprenticeship, which is an industrial attachment at various skill level, is to gain experience and on-the-job training. Then we have our Become Tech network, including the community event and projects, just like the one we are having here, the cloud hosting meetup. So this event is geared at giving back to the community and building the tech ecosystem. So we focus on informing and exposing the youth to the current technology trends and how to prepare for the future in technology. Then we have our light space, which we provide an helpful workspace intended to encourage collaboration and drive innovation in the startup ecosystem. So we have this space created for different occasions, different events like seminars, conference, and get together. If you are planning on any event, either your seminar, get together, please do well to reach out to us. So I'll be dropping different links to these services on the chat box. So do well to click on the link and know more about our services. And also I dropped the link to a community feedback form on the chat box. So please do well to fill the form and let's get your suggestion, experience, and ideas or decision about this event because your feedback will go a long way. So we have our Become Global Tech Program, which is your solution to launch your tech career globally. It is a 1 to 2 year program focused on three key pillars, which is learn skills, gain experience, and gain exposure. Please, are we together?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, thank you for that.
Yeah,
So
we
we
can
also
hear you.
have, all right, thank you very much for that. So we also have our Emigrate Tech Visa, which helps you become globally attractive, tech profile or tech-enabled business. And it is your tech-enabled pathway to relocation and settlement in countries like UK, Canada, France, and many more. Then we have our Become Mentoring platform, which is structured a mentoring solution to help mentees add values to mentees for the purpose of building globally attractive techies. We have our Labs by Become. It is a 3 to 6 months pre-incubator program and brings together participants to build digital technology products, which will be used by real life users. Then we have our Become Tech Career Coaching, which helps individuals to land their next role faster by offering a combination of coaching, relevant on the job experience, career referencing, introduction to tech recruiters, and old through application and interview process, and many more. Yeah, do well to click on the link I'll be dropping on the chat box and trying to check more about our services. Yeah, thank you very much. So I would like to hand over to the host of the event to talk about the question and answer section. Yeah, thank you very much for that.
Okay, thank you. That was a very insightful presentation, Mr. Eric. If you have any question, the floor is open for question now. If there's anything you would like to ask, please ask now. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Eric, for that insightful, educative, interesting presentation. I think this is one of the best. This is one of the best presentations I've seen in a long time. Thank you very much. And I want to tell you that we need you back here again. We will still reach out to you and bring you here again. Any DevOps engineer, cloud engineer that did not listen to Eric's presentation must have lost something. Thank God that this is a recorded sections, and it's going to be on YouTube, and going to aside people who are here today, other people those who are not here right now, we also get to have it in future. So thank you very much. I have one question, and I would like to direct it to Eric. My question is, you have mentioned a couple of AI tools, right, that we can use for DevSecOps and all that. And it's quite interesting that I'm hearing some of the names for the first time today. And I know that AI is actually revolutionizing sectors everywhere, right? And I want to ask that, is there any open source tools, AI open source tools for DevOps or DevSecOps? And then again, how, do you encourage organization and enterprise to use an open source software, or enterprise should focus on closed source? Basically, that's my question.
Okay, thank you so much. I think that was Samuel, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, Samuel, all right, yeah. Thank you so much. I think these questions are very, very pertinent, right? When you listen to a lot of people talk, a lot of expert talk, the first question you ask is one of the questions they will always pose, especially on the aspect of security, right? Or especially on the aspect of security, because companies mostly deal with sensitive data, right? Especially, let's say, in the fintech space or in the healthcare space. There's a lot of sensitive data that is being handled. And now, if you're in a situation where you're caught up, you're caught up between using an open source tool, right, or an inbuilt tool for your organization. Now, like I said, it depends. It would depend. It would depend first on your skill level. It depends on your skill level, right? That's the first thing. If within your team, if you have someone who can build an AI model, for security, let's say for security purpose, within your team, you have someone who can do that. Yes, I'll advise for security purpose and to safeguard data and for data protection, right? You can go for that. Because this is going to take you a lot of resources though, and it's going to take you a lot of money, right? But if you have an enterprise, company, like big company, where you can put in the resources, you have the skill, and you can pay for it, go for it, right? Go for it. But now, if you are still, let's say, a startup normally, they never have money. That's always a lot of startups. They never have money for the beginning, right? They never have. And even if they have, a lot of them are VC funded. A lot are VC funded. So what do? You can leverage on the open source, but then be careful of, be careful with the amount of data that you're exposing out there, right? Be careful with the amount of data. Also, some of the open source tools, they will tell you that they're not going to, they will tell you that, okay, your data is secured with them. They're not going to, you have access to it. Yes, if there are those open source tools or companies that give you that services, why prioritizing or safeguarding your data? Also leverage on them, right? But if you are going for those open source tools that, okay, that can, put your data at risk, know that is a risk you are risking. Let me put it that way, right? That is the risk at stake. So those are 3 options you should bear in mind. It depends on the context. It depends. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you too.
very much.
Yes, and
Thank
also
you
to
very
add to that, I forgot to also introduce one of my colleague and a brother too, right? So like I talked about SolarVis, we're a community, right? And where anyone is going, the other one will follow. They always like to follow each other, right? So when you are like ants, we always see ants following, everyone on the line. So wherever the other person is going, the rest will follow. So on the call here, I have Emmanuel. Emmanuel is a senior DevOps engineer. He's part of our team in SolarVis, right? Yes, he just Atanga Emmanuel. He's part of SolarVis. So Emmanuel, it's a pleasure to have you. I'm happy you came to say hi and to also be part of the Bincom Meta community today, right? So that aside, your question about whether you encourage what was the last question again?
Enterprise to use open source or closed source software.
Okay, yes, that was the question. Yes, and then you talked about the other AI open source tools. I think there was a question about it. Yes, what was it again? Like, can you remind me? There were two questions.
Yes, I want to know if those AI tools you mentioned are open source or closed source.
No, a lot of them are open source. Majority of them are open source. Yes, Splunk is open source. Datadog is open source.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, and also like Emmanuel said, you can see he also supported on the chat. He's also saying that some of these open source tools, they have a lot of limitations, right? They have a lot of limitations. You might be building an application and that application has some specificities that you want that application to have. You want to have some specificities for that application. But now if you go out there and you're looking for the open source tools and none of those tools, they have what you want, they can't deliver what you want, in terms of powering your application, right? It's good to have an inbuilt AI tool. Yeah. Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for that input.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Sure.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else with any question? Okay, Mr. Emmanuel, you want to say something? Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Eric, and is it sorry the name? The name I'm just like forgetting out. I was in a transit, so I'm just seated somewhere. That's why my background is not really good. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. I just wanted to add something when it comes to open source, right? Because most of us usually talk about open source, but
Yes, I can hear you.
we don't know what exactly open source is all about. So when we talk of open source, we talk of a software, right? A software where the kernel and the source code is given for free. So that's open source. So you can use the kernel and you build your own software with it. Okay, like if you go into AWS, you see a lot of resources. They use Linux subsystem. Linux is an open source and open and free. Okay, it is open and free because when I'll just deep just a little bit. When Linus Torvalds created that source from the Solaris, he allowed it to be open and free. So he let the kernel and the code free. That's why other companies have to use it and build their own, of which we are now buying on AWS to use. But then when you use something that is free, for example, you can visit me and I prepared some nice dish and I give you every compliment that I used to do that, or every.
I think we're losing Emmanuel, maybe the network.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay, so while he joins, let's.
Okay. I think somewhere, Ozema, you raise your hand at a point.
Yeah, I raised my hand at a point. I raised my hand and then the other someone started talking. So I wanted to ask Mr. He threw more light on the other point he gave, but he didn't talk about the infrastructure as code. So I wanted to ask if you can talk to us a little about the infrastructure as code.
Mr. Eric, it's still directed to you.
Okay. All right. Okay. infrastructure as code? Is it, well, let me know. You don't understand what is meant by infrastructure as code, or what? You want to understand how AI comes into, integrating with infrastructure as code? Which one is it?
I
Let
would
me
like
know.
you to so I'd like you to throw more light on infrastructure as code and how AI helps like with the infrastructure as code. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So for infrastructure as code, right? Just infrastructure. Like I said again, if you want to get on this path, you need to understand the fundamentals, right? You need to understand cloud fundamentals. And cloud fundamentals here is
Sorry,
you
sorry.
understanding,
The network
and
kicked
cloud
me out.
fundamentals here is you, sorry guys, and cloud fundamentals here is you having an understanding of AWS, Azure, or GCP, right? Because these are the three major cloud providers that we have out there,
Yeah, Eric, can you hear me
right?
now?
Emmanuel, can you hold on a minute, please?
Okay, thank you.
Yes. So understanding infrastructure is just like, okay, you need to run an application or you need to deploy an application, right? And this application is running on an instance, for example, right? So that instance is the infrastructure, right? You're going to have your VPC, which is part of the infrastructure, right? You're going to have probably your database, which is part of the infrastructure. You get it? I don't know if you understand. Are you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you actually.
Exactly. You're going to have your security groups, which is part of the infrastructure. You're going to have your storage is part of the infrastructure you are building, right? Now, when you want to do this, when you want to build this on the AWS platform, you have to do it manually. You go to the console, you launch an instance, you input, you configure your security groups, your key pair, and all the necessary services that you need to integrate, right? You connect to an S3 bucket and then to a database, to a VPC, and all of that. All of this you have to do on the console manually, right? I don't know if you know how this is done on the console manually. Do you have an idea?
Yeah, I do have an idea.
Perfect. Now, where does infrastructure as code come in? So instead of you doing all of that manually, you just need to, have, design the code, write the code that would deploy, let's say, 2 instances at once for you in your environment, or 50 instances with a VPC, security group, everything, building. You just need to run all of that as code. And within a few clicks, you have your infrastructure deployed instead of you going on the console, right? So this is done mostly using Terraform. Terraform is an infrastructure as code tool that's commonly used out there. Okay?
All right, thank you.
Perfect. Now,
thank you for that.
all right, okay.
Mr.
Okay.
Emmanuel,
Without
are
wasting
you
time, yeah, let's go to the next person. Sure. All right.
Okay, yes, thank you very much. The network kicked me out. I'm sorry about that. I was just trying to bring up the concept of open source so a lot of newbies can understand exactly what is open source. Yeah, because usually when they talk of open source, a lot of engineers will think it is just free. Yeah, it is free, but to an extent. So I have to explain it. And then when it comes to AI, a lot of people usually ask this question that in the nearest future, will AI take over humans? No. So obviously, we have been answering these questions every day that no, it is not. But those who know how to use AI would or supersede those who cannot use it. So that's just the basic truth of it. Think of it like if you are in a scenario where you have to write, as a DevOps engineer, you are tasked to write, for example, Mr. Eric, Engineer Eric was just talking about Terraform, which is an infrastructure as code tool used to automate infrastructure provisioning. For example, you have to write a code on Terraform that you are tasked to do to write a code that will provide VPC, subnet, internet gateways, NAT gateways, and create EC2 instances, place them on public and private subnet, create target groups. Maybe you are tasked to create a load balancers and target groups that will you know, attach everything to a DNS. Okay, just think of it that you will be the one, like you are the one writing this code. You know the concept of all this provisioning on AWS manually. You are not tasked to put it on a code. And now, as a very brief and talented DevOps engineer, you know how to write it mentally. Like in you know how to write it. You are given like 10 working days, or you can take like 10 working days to do that task. You don't know how to use an AI tool. Somebody that knows how to use an AI tool, by the time you are taking 10 days to develop your code, that person will take seconds to ask an AI that has been infiltrated with data to do that stuff. Okay, within seconds, the AI will give a sketch, okay, a skeleton of everything that is needed to provide that infrastructure. And you only copy it and edit it based on the knowledge that you already know what is required and how to do it. If you don't have the concept, you cannot use AI and leverage resources as fast as you think you can. So using AI, first, you must have to build yourself up. You must have the concept of what you want to do. If you have that concept, then I bet you AI will facilitate every bit of thing within seconds. So that is why the world today, everybody, they talk of AI, just data, guys. So thank you very much. I just wanted to throw more light on AI and open source. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel. That's very insightful. Like our boss would say, he mentions that AI has not come to take your job, but someone that knows how to use AI is going to take your job from you. So I don't know if anyone still has a question. Maybe we can take one more before we call it a day. You
All
can
right.
just a question.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
So, regarding whether AI will take our job or not, I would like to add this because at this point we are still at generative AI, generative AI, right? And OpenAI and other OpenAI is currently working on agentic AI. So now the next phase of AI will be agentic AI. Do you think when we reach that level of agentic, that they are not going to build AI agent and be selling it out, like AI agent that is a web developer, AI agent that is a DevOps engineer, AI agent that is, that's going to take this our role? Do you think that will happen?
Okay. Is that question referred to me?
Yeah, anyone can answer it actually.
Oh, okay. All right. That's a fantastic question. That's an amazing question, actually. Yes. I think there's a lot of talk around these AI agents, and a lot of times people who are scared, or a lot of time who are told that their jobs are at risk are mostly software developers, right? A lot of times it's always like, okay, yes, AI is going to take away the job of software developers. AI is going to take away the job of software engineers. So, but again, we forget that DevOps engineers are also there. And I'm happy you brought this up, because it's like DevOps engineers, they are not going to feel any bit of it. Yes, agentic AI or AI agents, right? It's going to replace a lot of people. And again, all of this is still about AI. There's no point in time where AI is completely going to replace people. There's no point in time. I don't think that time will ever is. because all of these are designed by humans, right? And when it comes to the reasoning aspect of stuff, the creativity aspect of things, right? AI doesn't beat the human intelligence. There are certain tasks that AI cannot replace. Creativity, AI cannot replace this. Because AI is just building information from a human brain, right? That information is vast, yes, we know. It's a lot of information that it's built on. But that aspect of creativity, AI can never replace it. So it's better to see a situation where DevOps engineers, software engineers, developers, they rather come in to complement what AI agents are doing in terms of creativity. So that's my aspect. That's my own point at which I'll look at it. As total replacement, no. As a complement, yes. Will some people be kicked out? Yes. Those who are unable to leverage, and understand how some of these agents operate. That's my take on it.
Does that answer your question, Mr. Samuel?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much. I really appreciate
It's a
it.
pleasure.
Okay,
Welcome.
I see another question, but then because of our time, I don't know, Mr. Eric, will you like to, you like to entertain question? People can reach out to you on your LinkedIn for further questions after this. Uh, I hope,
Absolutely.
yeah, I wouldn't mind
Absolutely,
to,
Kola.
yeah. If you have any
Absolutely.
question, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn too. You can reach out to Mr. Eric. You can reach out to anyone on this call.
Sorry,
Uh,
please. I think the last question should be taken. If so, I can enlighten the person on the last question. It's really an insightful question when it comes to containerization.
okay, you can go ahead.
Okay, yeah, because I see
Oh,
the
make
question.
it brief, sir.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. What uh what will be the major function of Argo CD, Ansible, and Plum regarding DevOps practices? Okay, first of all, when it comes to DevOps, I think it was really elaborated on. DevOps is a set of culture. It doesn't basically on tools, but it's a culture. And now, when we talk of Argo CD is an automated continuous deployment tool that is being used to deploy applications in Kubernetes. So you pick up Docker images from a Docker registry using Argo CD and you deploy those applications in Kubernetes. So that is the use of Argo CD. And Ansible is a configuration management tool that is used to configure infrastructures, for example, EC2 instances. So sometimes we use Terraform for that purpose, but then I usually advise engineers to use a tool that is native based for the purpose. If you want to configure, you use Ansible. And now Plum is like sort of setting, monitoring, and notification. So with AI definitely, and that is how it functions. AI functions based on data. So AI will help you, give you a continuous deployment pipeline where you can now edit and achieve your tasks very fast. If you go to Ansible, it gives you an Ansible playbook, okay, an Ansible playbook and a Docker Compose file that you can use and call to do your deployments. So it gives you that skeleton, so you edit. Basically, AI helps you to give you a skeleton of what you want to do. It gives you an example, a perfect skeleton of it, and then you edit with your own information. E.g., if you want to create a user in a Linux system, you have a bash shell script and you don't know how to go about bash shell script, but you have a concept, you can ask AI to give you a bash shell script to create and add user to particular group, assign password. AI will give you in such a format that you will now have to enter the user's name and the password on your console while you are doing that. So I think that has enlightened the person that asked this question. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. I appreciate your contributions. Thank you everyone for joining today. Thank you once again. Thank you once again, Eric. This event is usually hosted quarterly, and today you have done us well by accepting our invitation, and we are very impressed. Atanga Emmanuel, having you here is also very good to us, and we appreciate that your presence. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for joining. Please do well to follow them. I've been following both of them for a very long time on LinkedIn, so do well to follow them. Right? They drop their link to their LinkedIn on the chat box, so do well to follow them. If you actually want to grow in this field, in tech generally, in DevOps, cloud, infrastructure, and all that, you need to follow the expert, people who are experienced and all that. So that's how you grow as well. Thank you. Thank you. See you again some other time. Have a beautiful day ahead. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Samuel.
Bye. Bye. Yeah.
Bye.
Il faut demander là où puiser l'eau derrière. Pas de côté comme ça, là, il faut demander. Il y a les gens là, ils vont monter.